So webinar today is about unleashing the power of purpose, so building employee engagement through community involvement. So we've got 3 speakers for you today. I'm going to kick it off with talking a bit about the theory of how having a strong sense of purpose can really help with your employee engagement and attraction. And I thought the best way to bring that to life would be to kind of share examples of what we've actually done at Hewett Recruitment around this and how it's worked out for us. Then I'll hand over to Ruth from Onside Advocacy. Give us a wave, Ruth. So Ruth's going to be, she's actually going to give a charities perspective, her ideas around how businesses can get the most out of that kind of partnership. And then finally, Andy Hawkins, where are you, Andy? Give us a wave. From Business on Purpose, he's going to talk about B Corp as an accreditation. So what's involved and what the benefits are for businesses. Andy is actually, he's our consultant for B Corp, so he's supporting us through that process, which hopefully we're nearing the end of. Not that it ever ends, does it? I think it's an ongoing process, but hopefully we'll get accredited soon. So he'll be able to share some really useful information, either if you're looking at going for B Corp, but even if you're not, some of the ideas I think are really worth taking on board. So hopefully this presentation will kind of encourage businesses to become more purpose driven, as well as giving ideas on what more can be done in this area. Okay, so I'll start with a short introduction just about Hewett Recruitment. So we are a small recruitment agency, and we have offices in Kidderminster and Worcester. We employ 24 people and we've been running for 42 years. We cover 6 different specialisms, so IT, engineering, commercial, finance, industrial and executive talent across the 3 counties of Worcestershire, Herefordshire and Gloucestershire. So we're very much just a locally based agency. And we're very much values led. So our core values really kind of dictate everything we do as a business. So we hire against them, we manage our people against them, we use them for our decision making. And one of our key values is we create value. So our beliefs here are that we want to create a sense of community by being generous of spirit, time and resources. And I guess for us, this is where that whole sense of and that community involvement really comes into focus. As I mentioned, we're going for our B Corp. So we should be audited for that, I think, in the next couple of months. And we, for that, we have to kind of measure the impact of our business across 5 key pillars. So the first one is governance. So for that, we have actually changed the articles of association for our business to make it that we're here for the benefit of our employees, our customers, our community and the environment, rather than just for the benefit of the shareholders. So that was a really important kind of starting point really for us. And then obviously we really kind of hold ourselves to high standards in terms of our impact on our workers, our customers and the environment, of course. But I guess really the point where hopefully we feel like we really stand out or we kind of really make a big difference is in our community. And I think actually for other businesses, that's where you can probably stand out the most, because a lot of the things around workers, customers, environment can be quite standard across lots of different businesses. But your community work is where you can really stand out, particularly when you're talking about engaging your employees and potential employees of the future. Right. So just for us at Hewett Recruitment, how have we impacted our community? So we do offer our employees paid time off to do voluntary work. And last year in our financial year, we actually gave over 400 hours of voluntary work, which was over 10 working weeks, the equivalent of, and 85% of our employees took us up on that opportunity. We had a charity of the year, St Paul's, and I'll go into that a bit later. I guess we're really fortunate in the way that we're positioned in the nature of our business. So obviously we've helped a lot of people into employment. We also take the opportunity to support local careers fairs. We're really interested in supporting skills of the future, supporting young people in thinking about employability skills and what kind of careers they might want to go into. And we also offered some consultancy for local businesses wanting to grow in terms of their recruitment and retention of their people. On top of this, myself and my business partner, Ben, we're really active in the local business community. So we sit on various different advisory boards, trying to support the local economy. And also we have lots of kind of particularly educational partnerships. So whether that's with universities themselves or with kind of organisations that support that skills agenda. So we give our time all the time. Okay, so let's get specific onto the benefits of purpose and community involvement for our employee engagement and attraction. So this slide, I've got just a quote there, which is quite useful. And just ESG stands for environmental and social governance, just as a reminder. So of course, ESG is a real hot topic at the moment, you know, particularly with kind of the legislation coming in for the larger businesses of what they have to do around ESG. But the concept of corporate social responsibility has been around for a long time, and it kind of means the same thing or similar, but without the legislation involved. And the benefits for getting involved really can't be understated. So for millennials and for the generations that follow, you know, individuals are really interested now in the why of a company, you know, what it is that they stand for beyond just making money. And this is what is impacting their decision making when they're deciding which companies to go for their employment, where they want to work next. And that little stat there, the 72% from some McKinsey research is interesting, that millennials believe that purpose should actually receive more weight than profit. So it's good to kind of keep that front of mind for this generation that are actually going to be leading our businesses in the next few years. Okay, so every company, whether you've kind of intentionally created one or not, has an employer value proposition. That's just what, you know, what you're offering to your employees or potential employees. I really like this model of employer value proposition because it matches really nicely with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So a lot of people I know are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy. If you're not, it's just a model basically for understanding what motivates human behaviour. And it just matches really nice. So if you start at the bottom with those basic needs of safety and the physiological needs, that maps across to your compensation and benefits. You know, your pay and benefits have got to be right to attract and retain your employees. That's the gateway of being able to even have those conversations with people, right? Then you move up to the psychological needs. So there we're looking at career progression and well-being in the workplace. That's another thing that's really important to people to see. But then finally, right at the top of the pyramid, you've got those self-fulfillment needs, and that is where the purpose of your business comes into play. That's where you can really make that emotional connection with employees at a whole different level. And, you know, working to help the local community, it helps us to position our brand in a positive light as a company that's about more than just profits. It also helps retention because, you know, if we're getting involved in really fun kind of community activities or charity activities, that's really an enjoyable way of building relationships within your company too. Of course, as well, there are well-being benefits of CSR effectively. And I like this 5 ways to well-being, which is an NHS model. So one of these pillars of the 5 ways to well-being is give. And just below, they've stated what the benefits of giving are to your well-being. And I think, you know, that well-being in the workplace piece does really link in well with CSR, and it's really important for employee engagement too. You know, apart from anything else, it's just great, isn't it, to get people away from the work, from the desk, and do something a bit different together and have a bit of fun. Okay, so then when we come on to actually recruiting, this is where we need to be thinking about our employer brand. So our employer brand describes an employer's reputation as a place to work. So we can't control our employer brand, but we can influence it. And the way that we would do that is by kind of showing our sense of purpose, showing that we're doing business the right way. And you kind of have to evidence that. So social media is brilliant for that. You know, you can be showing, you know, very well saying it kind of on your About Us page or something, but by evidencing all the time what you're doing, that really builds that employer brand. And most candidates will do their due diligence on a company before deciding to work for them, by looking at social media and trying to get a feel for what it's really like to work there before committing to a job. And in the current labour market, there's so much choice out there. There's so many jobs, as we know. There's a skill shortage, so we are in a competition for people. So reading positive stories, like this one that we did, it was a sports day for a local hospice, that kind of thing. It just really helps kind of catch people's attention and bring your brand into their mind. I've put up a few more examples actually of posts that we've put out. These are LinkedIn posts that we've put out in the last 12 months, just of different things that we've got involved. Oh, that's a newspaper article. So here we've got a TikTok video. So it's nice to use different types of media as well. So photos, the TikTok video, and you can see that these are much more eye-catching on social media than just your standard branded posts. If you're advertising a job or something, people really like to see this. You can see that they get a lot of engagement, and actually what's nice is the people that are featured in those photos tend to like and share and comment themselves, and then their friends and family do the same, so instantly your marketing reach is much greater than it would have been. So that's all worth considering. Okay, and then I just wanted to mention as well, so what we do at Hewett Recruitment is we do support lots of different causes and charities throughout the year, but what we found has worked really well in the last couple of years is having one specific charity partnership. So it's been beneficial because I think it's enabled us to really get under the skin of that one cause. So this was last year, we worked with St Paul's Hostel in Worcester, which is a homeless charity. We chose them because we saw every day when we were walking into our Worcester office the sleeping bags in doorways, and the kind of impact that has. And it was great to see that there's a charity that's really working to help those people. And so we were able, by partnering with them, to have a real impact and make much more of a difference to them over that year. So just a few things that we did. We did the Big Worcester Sleep Out. We sponsored that and we took part in it. We did a shoebox appeal. So at Christmas, when we put on our HR conference, we asked our attendees to bring a Christmas present for the residents of the hostel. We painted some of the bedrooms. We put on a concert as well, a fundraising one. And we gave speaking opportunities at a couple of big events that we're involved in to the CEO of the charity. And then we also, what was good as well is we were able to think about our unique skills, and that's something that I'd always kind of recommend, is to think about, it's not just about raising money, it's about how can you help with your actual skills that you've got in your business. So there was a couple of people that were ready to leave St Paul's and go into the world of employment. So we ran some workshops there to help with employability skills and how to approach that. And we also helped St Paul's with their recruitment process and reviewing job descriptions and things like that. So that's worked really well for us. So I just thought I'd finally just finish with how we actually go about selecting a charity partner and what we consider. So if you were thinking about doing a charity partnership, so we start off by asking the team for recommendations. So obviously we did St Paul's last year, and this year we've gone with Kemp Hospice in Kidderminster. The reason that we chose them, it was unanimous from our team this year because really sadly in December our finance manager passed away, and she used to support Kemp Hospice, and that was her charity that she supported over years and years of her life. So it was an obvious choice for us to kind of try and carry on her legacy and kind of pay tribute to June in that way. Then we think about what's going to align with our culture, values and ethos. Then thinking about where we can have most impact, as I already said, with St Paul's, for us it's, can we help with some recruitment advice? For you it might be, can you help with, if you're a company with a great marketing team, can you help with their social media or something? Or if you're an electrician, can you go and do some actual work on site for them, that kind of thing. Then what's really important actually, and it's been quite a good learning point for us, is this point 4 about the charity's ability to successfully partner with a business. So for that, they need to be clear on what they need and how you can help. That does quite vary between charities. We find it really useful if they've got fundraising events. So Kemp is really good for that actually. They have lots of fundraising events that we're getting involved in. Also sponsorship opportunities. So we're sponsoring their fire walk that they're doing later in the year. And then if they have a marketing presence, that helps too, because obviously as a business you'll have a marketing presence, and then you can really help amplify their messages all throughout the year. And then finally, obviously, due diligence, making sure that everything is as it seems. So I think that's it for me, actually. And so any questions and things I'll take at the very end. But while we're on the subject of charity partnerships, I will hand over to the expert, which is Ruth from Onside Advocacy.
Thank you, Laura. Hopefully you can see me okay. I'm going to just take control of the presentation. Great. So it's great to be here. My name's Ruth Hewett and I'm the Director of Wellbeing Services at Onside Advocacy. Yeah, it's really exciting to be part of this. Laura and I did something similar probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago over in Malvern Hills, which was really well received. So it's really great to be able to build on that. So Onside, I don't know how many people know about Onside and what we do. We are approaching our 30th year anniversary. We are a charity of around £4.5 million turnover, so medium-sized charity working across Herefordshire and Worcestershire, and we work with individuals and families who are facing inequality, with an ambition really to improve people's physical and mental health and well-being, giving them a voice in decisions that affect them. So working with really disadvantaged and vulnerable people when life becomes difficult for them. So we work really closely actually with St Paul's, and our ambition really is to try and prevent some of that from happening in the longer term. So working with families, children, young people to give them the best start in life as well. So as I said, we work across Herefordshire and Worcestershire, and we actually started out as an advocacy charity all those years ago. And since kind of COVID, the services that we deliver across the charity have really expanded. And hopefully you'll have seen some of these services across Worcestershire, in particular the social prescribing, mental health and wellbeing services. So we work really closely with the Health and Care Trust within the NHS, within the GP surgeries, the hospitals, and also within a range of schools and colleges across the counties. So yeah, just to give you a bit of an overview of how many people we support, this is a little bit out of date, but around 9,000 to 10,000 people a year are supported through the charity. And as I'm sure you'll all understand, the impact of COVID and the cost of living at the present time is having increased challenges on people's mental health and well-being. And we're supporting more and more people with additional and more complex needs, particularly young people within school and those young people that aren't actually able to attend school at this time. Volunteering is a key part of what we do at Onside, and that can be one-off volunteering, that can be event volunteering, but that can also be working within businesses to support the work that we do. As I'm sure you're very aware, the kind of economic pressures on charities is significant, and you know, we know people in our communities within businesses are really keen to support some of the work that's happening in our communities, and volunteering is a really key part and a key transaction with our local communities, and we really wouldn't be able to do what we do without our volunteers. I've had the benefit of working across other VCSE organisations and also local authorities, and I know that the contribution that is made by volunteering and partnering with communities and businesses is really integral in what we're able to achieve. Here's just an example of who we're working with this year. For example, in Worcester City, we are the Charity of the Year with Crowngate, with Starbucks, and we've been working really closely with the Mayor as their Charity of the Year as well. We know that each organisation's got their own kind of mission drive and approach and kind of focus on their social impact. And there is a real reliance on volunteers and people like you, people with working within our communities and living in the hearts of our communities, where some of the challenges that Laura mentioned we see on a day-to-day basis, and working with businesses as a charity, it really does allow us to make that positive difference to people's lives. This slide shows you some of the work that we actually did when I was working at my previous charity in Worcester. And this was actually when we were going through COVID. We were really fortunate to be working really closely with Worcestershire ambassadors at the time. And when we went into lockdown, we launched a care package project. And I think what it showed during that time is the benefits of working closely with local businesses was absolutely key in being able to successfully deliver this service. We took thousands of meals into the homes of people that were socially isolated. And obviously everybody was kind of behind closed doors at that point. And there were some really very vulnerable people within our communities. And because of the work that we'd and the relationships we'd built up with local businesses, we were able to identify key people who wanted to support some of the work that we were doing. Those local businesses were really aware of the support that we were able to offer and the reach that we were able to offer as well. So kind of building up those relationships with local businesses is really, really key for charities. And we absolutely wouldn't have been able to deliver as many of those kind of voluntary hours as we would be able to. And I know the feedback from people that we were working with in local businesses across the city was absolutely amazing. I think that there is so much reward for local people to get involved in the community where you live and probably where you also work. And I know Laura was talking about the emotional connection. There is a real sense of contribution to your communities for you to be able to see firsthand the difference that you will make to local people and the challenges that sadly many of our communities are facing. But it is important to recognise that obviously each charity has their own need and their own requirements. And I think that's really important when you are looking to partner with a charity, that you do have those conversations about clear expectations around what it is that you can offer that charity, and really importantly what that charity needs, because actually it's not typically about money, financial support. Whilst that's always useful, actually, when you're entering into a partnership as a business with a charity, it's about what you can offer, the skills that you have within your organisations, and that's how we really benefit from those partnerships. So it could be actually about sponsoring or sponsoring an event or a fundraising campaign. We've previously worked alongside Space Hive, who supported us in a domestic abuse campaign. We've obviously talked about volunteering at events, but also we worked really closely with Bosch when I was in my previous employer, and they would come and they would spend a day with us painting community centres, which actually for a charity can be really expensive. But for an organisation coming in on a corporate away day, really great team building, really good fun, and obviously doing really great things for your community as well. We talked about in-kind donations last time we met as well. We've got so many businesses within the county that could support, for example, with donating food to the food bank. That particularly helped us with our care package project. We worked really closely with some major supermarkets within the county that were able to offer free food, which really gave a sense of fulfillment to the people that were able to deliver that food down to us at the community centres to get out to our most vulnerable people. And pro bono services are really, really key. We in the charitable sector perhaps aren't known for our IT skills, for example, our marketing skills. We're here to support some of the most vulnerable people in our communities. And so actually we know that there's many businesses that have got some fantastic skills that they could lend that support to us, which would be of real benefit. And as I said, we're coming up to our 30th year. We're planning a big event kind of for the autumn. It's a knockout style, hopefully at Pitchcroft, and it would be really great to work with local businesses for supporting that event. So there are lots of ways in which you as local businesses can support the voluntary sector, and hopefully, if you're not already considering it, you can kind of approach an organisation, a charity within an area of business that's important to you, to people that work for you, that will help with that kind of attraction, as Laura has mentioned, of new staff, but also around engagement and retention of your existing staff. And it's also really good fun. I think, you know, volunteering, the benefits to you as a as a corporate business is we can actually offer as a charity things to you too. You know, I know St Paul's came and did some really interesting talks, perhaps with Hewett Recruitment, but we can also, you know, as an organisation, and many charities have got skills to offer you too. You know, we can do training around neurodiversity. We can do we can support you in understanding the challenges around mental health and well-being, as an example, which is, you know, affects us all, particularly at the moment when there's additional pressures within our society. We can also help you access new markets. You know, we often work as charities within communities where people are underserved, that are hard to reach, such as low-income families or people with disabilities or mental health conditions, whereas, you know, you may not traditionally be able to access some of those markets. So we're able to support you in navigating our communities. Increasing the brand awareness. I know we've talked about it, and millennials particularly are interested in this. But we also need to shout about the work we do more. We probably don't do as much as that as we should do. We've talked about enhancing the reputation as well, and that kind of social responsibility and community engagement. We've also talked about the employee engagement and building that employer brand and attraction and retention. And we know that money isn't the most important aspect when people are looking for jobs, which obviously with the higher levels of engagement can give better business outcomes for you. And then finally, it's just about collaboration and innovation and bringing together diverse perspectives and expertise. So having the opportunity to tap into a more diverse community and think about ways in which your services perhaps could be adapted to serve a wider audience and address social needs, which essentially can lead to cost savings and hopefully increased profits. So, you know, really fulfilling to be part of this conversation. And I'm speaking here on behalf of all charities within the county. You know, there is such significant benefit of working alongside you, but I'm hopeful that also you see the benefits of working alongside local charities that can offer things to you too. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to any questions shortly. I think I'm handing over.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Ruth. That's brilliant. And Andy, if you want to take control.
Okay, well, I hope that I can follow up those two brilliant presentations so far, and it's just great to hear about all the different initiatives that are going on. So my name is Andy Hawkins, and the company that I run is Business on Purpose, that helps companies use their business as a force for good, and that is the main strapline of B Corp. We want to use business not just as a profit generating machine, which is still important. We love profit. No margin equals no mission. So we do like margin, we do like profit, but we also would like to use our business as a force for good in terms of people and planet. I grew up mainly in tech and technology and put my own company a few years ago through B Corp. I got my B Corp certification in August 2020. The next day, one of my mates rang me and said, Andy, congrats on B Corp. Can you help us with ours? So he was a mate, and I said, yes, of course I would. And within a month, I'd had 5 mates call me saying, please, can you help us? So 2.5 years ago, I decided to pull stunts and go full-time helping clients with B Corp. And in that 2.5 years, I've helped about 300 companies, including the fabulous Hewett Recruitment, obviously. We do that one-on-one with some of our larger clients. My largest client has been a FTSE 100, so it's been a super large business who had a lot of their process and policy in place, but still had a number of blind spots and were not quite so flexible on making the changes that they needed to, whereas smaller companies are much more nimble, but don't have quite a lot of the processes and policies and things written down. So we help them with those aspects. But yeah, we've been able to help about 300 companies over the last 2.5 years. So what is B Corp? Well, the most simplistic analogy that I give is B Corp is to business what fair trade is to coffee. So we've all known about fair trade, and we can buy our chocolate or coffee or tea, and we know that there's a degree of provenance behind that. In business, there's a number of different certification standards. 9001 is quality, 14 is environmental, and 27001 is around IT security. But what is there that can cover a company that covers both their social and environmental impact? And that is really where B Corp comes in, and that ensures that companies can meet higher standards of verified social and environmental performance. So it's not just a company that says this, hey, here's our CSR page, you need to take us at our word that we're doing brilliant things. The evidence that you put together is audited. So Laura is in the process of being audited over the next couple of months. The results of that are then published. So there's something called the B Corp directory. So you can go onto the B Corp directory and look at any company's results and what they score across the 5 different sectors. And they will be making a legal change to change their articles from saying predominantly, we are a company that is set up to make a profit. We will change that to say we are here to make a profit, but we view all of our decisions through the lens of people and planet as well as profit. So there is an actual legal change which we encourage companies to make, and we help them to make those changes. Currently, there's 5,000, just coming up to 6,000 companies globally across 156 industries, 82 countries. And they've all got one unifying goal, which is to use business as a force for good. In the UK, there's about 1,600 B Corps just in the UK. That represents just over £22 billion worth of combined revenue, over 60,000 employees across 58 different industries. They are certifying about 100 companies per month at the moment. So it's those numbers are going up significantly, and there's about 1,100 daily active users of the B Impact assessment tool itself. So it shows you that B Corp is something that many companies are actually thinking about and looking at. This is a range of some of the different companies that there are around the UK. You'll recognise some of those names. And this is some of my local ones. I'm also co-chair, because I'm based in Bristol. I'm co-chair of the Bristol and Bath B Local. That is the local meetup group. And we meet up every month or so to swap stories, share processes and policies and hints and tips and so on and so forth. As I mentioned, there is a B Corp directory, so it also helps you to get found. So if I want to go and find an accountant who is a B Corp, I can go onto the B Corp directory and select by country, by region, by organisation, put in some search and find B Corps that are able to provide that service or product, which is really useful. It's been mentioned before, people say, why do you want to go B Corp? What are the main reasons? Well, recruitment is definitely one of the top 2 or 3. Both in terms of initial recruitment and ongoing retention. That scores really well. But it's finding that sweet spot really between people, planet and profit, and going through the B Corp process helps you to do that. The actual roadmap we use is there is this tool that anyone can use. bimpactassessment.net is where you can find it, and anyone can sign into that impact assessment. And there's been well over 50,000 companies that have logged into that and taken a look. It's split into 5 different sections in the main. I'm just trying to advance my slide. Here we are. That is governance, workers, community, environment, and customers. There's a 6th section that covers disclosure questions and any potentially dodgy industries that you might work with. That's not necessarily showstoppers, but B Lab do want some transparency and an ability to ask you questions about some of those industries that you might be working with. But we generally work through those 5 sections, and we get a scorecard developed. The threshold for becoming a B Corp is 80 points. 70% of all B Corps globally certify between 80 and 85 points. So even getting to 80 points is a reasonable stretch. The highest scoring B Corp score maybe 150, something of that nature, but that's because they're doing something particularly impactful around the environment or around social impact. But 80 to 85 is the most common score. Let me just find this. There's a whole range of different questions. There's 150-ish questions, 30 or 40% of which you'll definitely know the answer to. Another third you'll feel 50-50 on, and another third you'll think, well, I'm not really sure what that is. You know, what is carbon intensity? How do I know if I'm net zero or climate positive? Am I really, as a business, serving an underserved people group? It's all a little bit of an unknown. So my job title at the business is I'm C3PO, which stands for Chief People, Planet and Purpose Officer. So you will all know that the job of C3PO is to act as a translation droid. So part of the journey that I do is I translate a load of those words and phrases and questions and help put it in kind of normal human speak, so that we can understand where we're coming from, what the context is for our business, and really make some decisions and answer the questions accordingly. So working our way through the 150 questions can feel like somewhat of a forest, as I'm sure Laura and Ben will attest to. So my main role is to act as a guide. And as I say, I've helped about 300 clients through this. With larger clients, we work on a one-to-one basis, but if a company is a smaller company, and by that we would say nominally £2 million turnover or below, something of that nature, then help coach people through. We lovingly call our 10-step couch to 5K approach. And when we're doing it with a group of people, we call that our park run approach. So there's a bunch of us all going through the program together and encouraging each other, sharing stories, and to do is make sure that every company, you know, in the UK has got the accessibility to some cost-effective and appropriate and proportionate help, which is why we run the cohorts for the smaller businesses. I'm bringing it into land now, quite literally, from space. So when astronauts go up to the moon or go up into orbit and they are interviewed when they come back down, they generally report on two main emotions. One emotion is, isn't the world a beautiful place from up there? They're quite overcome and often emotionally moved to tears when they look back at this amazing and beautiful planet Earth. The second emotion, which they consistently report, is why on earth is it that we as a bunch of humans can't get our act together to live together better, to look after each other better, and to look after this amazing planet? So we want everyone to be able to take part in this, to be part of the change, to be part of the solution. It is not going B Corp is not an easy thing, and we wouldn't necessarily say B Corp is for everybody, but everybody can do something. Everybody can make a change. Doing some of the amazing things that we've heard Laura and Ruth talk about, every business, and I'm sure if we opened it up and we interviewed everyone on the call today, everyone is doing something. What B Corp helps companies to do is to measure and improve those social and environmental changes, and actually do it in a systemized framework type way, and actually put some of those programs and policies and processes into place. So it's a keep fit for a business type thing. And we focus really on the cake. Getting your B Corp certification is for sure the cherry on the top of the cake. But the main issue is going through the 10-step program, highlighting what you're doing well and celebrating that, and then discovering where you perhaps have got some gaps and then looking at what you can do to improve that. So it's down to all of us to make a difference. It's government, it's individuals, it's households, but specifically today we're looking at how businesses can make a difference. And we do want to encourage every single business to be part of this change. If not us, then who is going to do this? And if not now, when? Thank you very much for listening. It's been great to take part in this. Obviously, feel free to get in touch. Laura's got all of the contact details, but for now, I'm going to hand back to you, Laura. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Andy. That was very great. Just want to open it up. If anyone wants to unmute and just throw any questions out, please go ahead. Or even any thoughts, considerations. Oh, well done, Verity. Anybody? Don't have to. You can always contact us afterwards if I feel like someone's unmuted, if I can hear an echo. No? No, okay, that's fine. I won't take it personally. So we can finish up early then, that's absolutely fine. And thanks everyone for coming. It's been great to have you all here. And yeah, have a good day. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye.